Hi guys, this is Grant Nelson again here with the Mustache Off-Grid YouTube channel. In case you're new to the channel, I cover various off-grid and homesteading topics, and I try to do things in an old-fashioned way, as manual as possible. I kind of mentioned my smoker in a couple of my other videos, and I'm just going to show you guys a video on smoking a rabbit, how I prepare it. This rabbit took me about, I would say, probably 7 hours to smoke, so this one was a little longer. The smaller ones smoke a little faster than that, usually about 2 hours. But anyway, I'll get into the video, talk a little bit about cold smoking and smoking. It's a preservation method, been used for thousands of years. This I'm going to hot smoke the rabbit for the video, but cold smoking is something, you know, when people went out west, they didn't always have salt to preserve their meat. Smoking is something you can do, all you need is wood, you know, to smoke, and cold smoking is to preserve the meat, not to cook it. So something to look into there. That's what I built my smokehouse for, because I don't use a refrigerator out here, and I think cold smoking can be a great alternative method to keep meat for 6 months plus. Alright guys, so we're going to smoke a rabbit today, just to kind of show you how the smoker works. The first step I'm doing is I'm going to start the fire in there. If you never started a fire before, some nice kind of dry grass or something like that might help. You can also use paper. I like to use leaves from the forest floor, but today it's a little bit wet because it was raining, so not something I'm going to do today. Anyway, I'm going to put this paper and grass in there, and I've got some dry wood. I keep some dry wood in my building over there, just in case there's a rainy day like this. But I'm probably going to try to get a couple dry sticks if I can find them, which may be easier said than done today, actually. Sometimes if you find stuff that's up elevated like that, it's generally a little bit drier because the water flows off it, but it's still pretty early, so we'll see. Yeah, here's a couple little sticks. I think they'll start up. Just got to dry them out a little bit. I think they'll start. And if not, we'll get it started. Now, if you can't find dry wood and you need smaller stuff to start the fire, if you split some logs, like this one right here, maybe you can pull some of the bark off to get something to start it. But you can also split it into smaller pieces. If you can't find dry sticks and stuff to kind of get your fire started, that can be a good option for you. So just a little trick to keep in mind here. I think that that's kind of a good start here. I think there's a good chance that that'll start. One good thing to buy a lot of, obviously you could start fires by hand with a stick and, you know, spin it and stuff, but one thing that if you're going to go off grid, buy some bulk lighters. Put some paper down there, so we'll see if we can get it to start. The air's probably a little bit moist today. Might have to go get a little bit drier paper. Seems like it's kind of
That might do it. Yeah, sometimes it takes a little to get it to start, but like I said, I think that buying lighters in bulk is a good thing if you're going to go out in the woods somewhere. And it's all wet stuff today. It's kind of tough to start the wet stuff a lot of times. Even that grass I put in there is a little bit wet, but it's drier than a lot of stuff, so. I'll let that for a while, but I'm gonna go get some better. Alright guys, I think it might start here. It's fairly questionable. Sometimes it's a little tough to get it started. It can take, a few minutes, but I think we might finally be pretty close here. But yeah, I always start this thing in pre. Preheat the smokehouse, so that way I can burn green wood. It sounds like we got some rain coming in. There's no doubt that there's rain coming in, but it's a blessing and a curse, the rain sometimes. Yeah, it looks good. We got some of the kindling started, so I think this is going to start up here. But basically, you want to get some dry wood started in there, and then you can burn the green wood afterwards, because the green wood's wet, so it has to be a very hot fire to get it to start and stuff. Yeah, you can, if you're starting a fire, blowing on it really helps a little bit to give it some oxygen, especially if it's real, there's a lot of smoke in a chamber like this. Sometimes the fire needs a little oxygen to start up. But anyway, basically I preheat the smoker, start it up, let this get down kind of almost to coals, and keep throwing wood in, and then once the smoker heats up and it's hot enough, then I put the animal in. Now when I say I try to do zero waste, guys, even the scraps of wood from the boards that I cut, I even put the scraps to use. I like to use them to start the fires, or I even just burn them in the winter in my own fireplace. So, you know, just something to consider here. There's always a use for scrap wood and things like that. Some of those scraps are 2-inch pieces or 1-inch pieces, and you know, I just like to put them to use, and they're drier than a lot of the wet wood out here in the woods today, so figured I'd use some of the scraps to get this thing really rolling. Here's the rabbit right here. First thing you're going to want to do, there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can do it just like this. Put the kind of rope around the rabbit like that. Or sometimes I like to take a metal wire and put it through this back foot and tie it into the rope. Either way will work. The next thing I'm going to do is take a stick, just a random stick out here. This one looks like a good one right here. And I'm just going to measure it, make sure it fits. Ooh, good and hot here. Okay, looks good. Now I take this stick right here and basically kind of do the same thing with the stick. I'm going to tie it onto the stick because I don't want to have to loop it all the way back through the rabbit. So I'm going to tie it on the stick, which is fine. Either way will work. This is just a hay twine, standard hay twine, and it's not going to melt in there. It's not going to be hot enough to melt, so I'm not too worried about it. So basically you got your rabbit on a stick like this. I'm going to throw in some, I'm just going to set it here real quick and season it up. I'm using lemon pepper seasoning. I like to do a dry rub. This is an older rabbit, so sometimes they get a little bit of tough right here where my middle finger's at. So sometimes you can take that that piece there and kind of skin it a little better. All right, I'm gonna flip her over. And it's probably good practice to put a little bit inside of the rabbit as well. Put a little bit inside of it. That way you get a nice flavor inside of the rabbit. And the reason you're going to want to do this is because as the juices flow down into the rabbit, they're going to cook into the meat. So it's really good idea to put a little bit inside of the stomach there. Obviously, you always need just a little bit of salt whenever you're dealing with meat. Put just a little bit inside of the stomach there, and that'll kind of drip down into it. Just giving it a little bit of salt on it, just to give it a little. All right. And then basically, once you get it like this, I've got 2 boards up top in here, and I'll show you guys how I do it. I open this side. You can see it's nice and smoky in there. That seems like a good spot just because it's right under the smoke here. But as you can see, I got the rabbit hanging. I take the stick and just put it between those two beams there so I can just turn it when I want to take the rabbit out of the smoker. That's about all you do, and then you just throw some nice smoke wood in. I'm also going to go get some okra to stuff in the rabbit. Alright guys, we got a handful of okra here I went and got. And basically one of the last steps that I do here is I kind of take some of this okra and kind of put it down inside of the rabbit and just let it cook in there. Just a good way. I do this with all different types of vegetables, but that's just what I'm doing because I got a lot of okra. But it is delicious that way. It gets nice and smoky. Once the rabbit starts to actually cook in here, the juices flow down into that cavity, and this keeps the rabbit moist, hanging it this way. I wouldn't recommend hanging it by the front legs. I would always recommend hanging it by the back legs, as far as that goes. But basically, put some vegetables in your rabbit, put some stuffings in your rabbit, whatever you want to use. It's good stuff. And also, I'm gonna make sure I get one of these in the rabbit so I can see the temperature of the rabbit. Alright, so basically, yeah, you'll take your smoke thermometer and poke it into the rabbit as well. I forgot to mention that. That one I like to just hang in there so I can hear the air temp. It's not designed for that, but that's how I use it. Alright guys, we can see the current temperatures here. I guess it'll turn blue if I click on it. 104 and 178 in the air temperature. So that'll cook the rabbit. It's going to get hotter in there as I throw more wood in. Now that I got the rabbit in there, I'm going to throw some nice green stuff in here to kind of get that smoke rolling. Alright guys, I just pulled this thing out of the smokehouse here. You can see it's nice and done up there, smoked real nice and red. That's going to be some good eating. You can see the juice dripping right off it. But that's going to be done there. I'm going to pull the twine off her. Pull the twine off here. Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks good. The reason I'm going to pull the twine off is because of the okra. I'm going to use the same string for the okra that I was showing you guys the what I was going to do with that okra. So useful for dehydrated vegetables and fruits and things like that as well. Back to the main course here. Oh man, that looks good. Look at the okra inside of there. That's going to be smoked. Just delicious. Oh yeah. You can see it pulling right off the bone. It's got good marbling, but yeah, it's some it gets nice and pink from that smoke curing it. Oh man, is it some decadent stuff, guys. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good. But anyway, guys, that's how you smoke the rabbit. And hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped someone learn a little bit about smoking. And stay tuned. Sit. Sit. Come on, sit. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Lay down. Lay down. All right. Good boy. Hey, guys, let's make Bailey famous. Let's make Bailey famous. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mustache Off Grid. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and God bless. Let's make Bailey famous, guys.